And we have some sad news. We want to bring you about the passing of a well-respected local historian, Anita Eisenhauer. Eisenhauer passed away on December 21st while vacationing with her family in Red River, New Mexico. She was 77 years old, and tonight our Bill Churchwell has a look back at her contributions and how she's being remembered.
If there was a historical marker dedicated in Nueces County, chances are Anita Eisenhauer was there behind the effort. Most recently, this unveiling of a marker along the seawall commemorating the 1966 Farm Workers Rally. To this odd 2017 dedication on Mesquite Street, showing where two Confederate deserters were hanged in 1862.
Was not exactly a pleasant thing to bring up, but it's necessary that we know both the good and the bad about our history here in Corpus Christi.
And that simply sums up Eisenhower's mission. A native Texan, she wanted to make sure not just Texas history, but specifically Nueces County history was preserved for future generations.
Whether it was the old historic courthouse, that was so much her passion, or whether it was the Bayview Cemetery or the historical markers, she taught so many of us to appreciate where we've come from.
Nueces County Judge Barbara Canales calling Eisenhauer a friend. Among the numerous positions she held, Eisenhauer was a longtime chairperson of the Nueces County Historical Commission.
She just leaves us an incredible legacy.
Like her work on this exhibit highlighting the deadly 1919 hurricane, something that can be found here at the courthouse.
I've been with the county 27 years and I've known her for most of that.
Commissioner's Court Manager Tyner Little showing us inside the county's Historical Commission office, where you will find hundreds of legal documents decades old.
People like Anita made sure that all of us understood that these records were there for posterity, whether you needed it for legal reasons, whether you just were on a research quest.
And as Eisenhower's life is celebrated, Canales says it is important to also carry on her work. Bill Churchwell, 3 News.
The Nueces County Commissioner's Court is expected to recognize Eisenhower at their January 8th meeting. Funeral services are planned for Monday, January 6th. We'll have all of that information on our website. We'll be right back.